Hi again. I want to talk about my grandmother and my experience with her death and with her funeral and with her life and with my experience with her. But first, I want to mention that I can't really seem to find the perfect spot to look on this webcam. I'm looking at what appears to be a lens right now, but I'm not making eye contact, and I've experimented a lot, but I can't seem to find the spot where I could make eye contact with this webcam. So that's why I seem to be looking at a random place. But I wanted to let you know, if you're watching, that's why I'm not making eye contact with the camera. But I want to talk about the mother of my father, my grandmother. Um, she passed away last year in her nursing home of natural causes. My dad let me know in the morning. He called me and was, obviously very, very hurt, very emotional. And my mom and I went to El Paso, made the 8-hour drive the next day to attend the funeral. But she was in a nursing home for, I'd say, the past 15 years of her life. I only ever knew her through visiting her in different nursing homes, so I can't say exactly when she started not being able to take care of herself, but those experiences visiting her were life changing. I mean, just to see, first of all, the looks that I'd get from these older, struggling people, but you know, it gave me something to work on, to not see these people at these nursing homes as less than because they couldn't take care of themselves. Um, it's a lot of the time it's a matter of circumstance or environment or genetics or whatever. It's not necessarily their fault that they can't take care of themselves. Not necessarily their fault that they've developed dementia like my grandmother did. So that was really really crazy in my childhood to experience that at such a young age. But it was always a great experience to see my grandmother, because she always was full of love, and even though she had dementia, she'd remember me and she'd remember my mom and my dad. So I mean, I never had anything but positive memories with her, even though a lot of the times it was confined to a room in a nursing home, and possibly, if they let us, we go out to dinner or to Kmart. She really liked Kmart. But she passed away last year. Um, and the funeral was at a church. It was decently attended by family, which made me happy. And for a lot of reasons, that funeral was really an enlightening experience. I got to see my parents talk to talk to the crowd about a side that I've never seen of them before, a side of them I've never seen before, and a side of my grandmother that I never got to see. The side of my grandmother I got to see was the older version that couldn't take care of herself, but she wasn't always this way. She was young. She was a mother that took care of, her 3 kids. And I got to hear stories about her, got to learn that she was, always a bit unconventional, but I think in a good way, in a loving way. I heard my aunt tell a story of one day she um, just randomly had an impromptu picnic in front of this random house she asked before, but she had this random picnic in front of this random person's house, and this meant a lot to my aunt who told this story. And it showed me how, apparently she was a spontaneous, a little bit weird but fun, I guess. So, my father, in his speech, I got to see him talk so vulnerably, more emotionally than I've ever seen him talk before. He really broke down up there, which was admirable, in order to be so vulnerable about that in front of a crowd of people. But he spoke about my grandmother in a way that he never spoke about her to me. He spoke about her love and her parenting, and maybe she was not a conventional mother, but she tried her best. And I could relate to that with my dad. He's a lot of the times he was very emotional, and he's dealt with his own struggles, but I know he has love, and I know that he probably did try his best. So I think that really means a lot to people, a lot to children, to feel like their parents did their best. But I also, at that funeral, saw a dead body for the first time in person, which was really crazy experience, I guess. To see something that was once full of life, full of confidence, stripped of its essence, really. I think it reminded me, one, of that most of what we are, the most real part of what we are, is invisible. It's that essence, maybe that soul, you could call it, but most of what we are is that invisible thing that you can't really see, that you can't measure. And it's not the physical necessarily. And I think that's what we should continue to admire or worship or think about when it comes to a person. And that's what we do think about, is those memories, that essence, that alive soul, And the funeral, the open casket, that's a way to, pay your due to the physical for the last time. But after the body's buried, I think we should really focus on the essence. The body doesn't matter anymore. It's the difference that they made in all of our lives, and the soul. It also made me reflect on my own mortality once more. I mean, I've been really thinking about death since I was about 8. Really, I don't know if this is normal, but I've really reflected on my mortality a lot since then. And in a lot of ways, that's a good thing, to really put your actions in perspective. But when I was 8, my cousin died in a car accident, and I checked today, and actually I found out that he was 20 years old, which is younger than I am right now. It's really tragic, but ever since that day, I just remember worrying about death, and I still do to this day. And it's not crippling for me, but something I think about and have thought about for a long time. And I've been lucky enough not to lose any close friends, close family, from that point until my grandmother's passing. But yeah, thoughts about mortality has really played a big part of my experience of life. But overall, I'm thankful for my grandmother, thankful for the time that I got to spend with her. And I'm sure the death will come for my other grandparents soon. I mean, not to be morbid, but yeah, I don't know. I've learned to kind of deal with it, to celebrate them while they're here, to learn how to celebrate their life within my own soul, and appreciate what they've given in my life, and how they've changed it in ways that I'm not even aware of right now. So wanted to say that as a tribute to her, and tribute to life, I guess, and death. So yeah, thank you.